Noel, welcome to Hamilton Towers for your annual visit. You've chosen a wonderful day. You brought the sunshine with you. It really is glorious. Behind me is the pool and the old wibbly-wobbly farmhouse, which you visited before. It's 600 years old, and no, I didn't build it.
Are you sure?
Well,
Okay.
I like to tell people that.
Well, absolutely, yeah. We'll go along with that, David. But anyway, some afternoon delight by the pool. Wonderful.
Yes, the Stoneland Vocal Band. That was a Hamilton Hotshot.
It was.
And you've revived the Hamilton
Yeah.
Hotshots. All those records of the week
Yeah.
are now on a Facebook with all your wonderful followers and our
Yeah.
wonderful followers,
Yeah.
who we very much appreciate.
Yeah, and with the boom hat on, and with that in mind,
Yes.
the wind fluttering my notes. With that in mind, I gather you've got a 2-year contract.
Yes, not bad at my age, is it? A 2-year contract. Obviously, they think that I'm going to outlive the contract. So I just hope they're right.
Well, I'm sure you will outlive it. In fact, I've heard
Who knows?
today that the bio tapestry is coming over here, and for those that haven't seen you in vision,
Yes.
they can see a picture of you maybe on the back of that.
Cheeky boy. Gonna use my old, remember that jingle? Cheeky boy.
The cheeky boy, absolutely. Yeah, there we
You
are.
haven't lost it, Noel. You still got the wit there.
Well, for me, the
Or
highlight
half of it, anyway.
halfway. For me, catching up on the year, which is what we do every year.
Yes.
The highlight for me was that wonderful evening in the New Forest, where you held the audience in thrall.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. An audience with, and they were a lovely audience, and they'd come from all over the country. The people had come from Lancashire, Shropshire, Cornwall. I was staggered. I mean, I thought it was going to be local people from Hampshire, but they were from all over the place. And the feeling of warmth there was great. I think I've become a bit like a sort of an English George Burns. You know, people are surprised that I've lived this long, and so they regard me as a sort of odd relic.
Well, as I say, the warmth of the audience and the way the evening went, it was quite incredible. And I know there's been an outcry for you to maybe do some more at some point in the future.
Well, there's nobody keener on that than you, and I know that a lot of people suggested venues that we might do.
Yes.
So I think today we'll go out and have some lunch, and we'll have a chat and just see how feasible it is, because excuse me, it takes quite a lot to put it all together. You know, you've got to have the promotion to get people there, and then you've got to get there physically, got to travel there, and there's advertising and promotion. So it's Ian Woolley who put the one together that we did down there in the New Forest, New Milton. I mean, he put a lot of time and trouble into it, so that's what we have to be ready for if we're going to do any more.
Absolutely. Obviously, Ian was partially responsible for a very, very good evening, and it all went down really
absolutely.
well. So it augurs for the future. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think if we don't outreach ourselves and go for venues that are too big, you've got to be reasonable. I mean, it's not an evening with Joan Collins. I'm not going to drag up for it.
No. Well, I did suggest that there might be intimate venues, and a lot of suggestions came up. Apart from my friend Brian, who said that we should be spending more time in the Bristol area. But
is that Bristol City or Bristol Rovers?
knowing him, I wouldn't like to say.
I'm gonna have a word with Brian. Brian, you are X-rated now. I've seen some of the stuff that you do with Noel, and it's disgusting, frankly. I mean, I am actually a church warden, and I'm very embarrassed by it.
Absolutely.
Tone it down, Brian.
The vicar's coming to play Scrabble a bit later on.
You're leading my friend astray here.
Well, there we are. So hopefully there will be more of those to come in the future. But one of the things that struck me, and I think strikes a lot of other people, I know with David Lloyd's daily handovers, is the amount of incredibly famous people that you've met and worked with over the years. I mean, there are the obvious ones like Doddy and Benny Hill. But there are others as well. Tommy Cooper.
Yeah.
But there are others as well. I mean, the people that used to come and visit you during your show in the afternoons on Radio 1.
Yes.
I mean, Telly Savalas.
Telly Savalas. Who Loves You, Baby? Who Loves You, Baby?
Absolutely.
Telly Savalas, yes, I've got a nice picture of him with me in the studio. Roger Moore, he was another visitor. We had a nice picture taken together, and the caption said 007 and 006 and a half. Who are David Cassidy, of course, whose tour I compared in the UK. He came to the studio, hordes of fans outside. The Bay City Rollers, and before that, when I was doing Late Night Extra, we had wonderful guests like Peter Sellers. And Peter Sellers was in London. People had said to me, Peter Sellers is very difficult, but he wasn't. He was absolutely charming. And he did this. I'm going to borrow your drink here for a second, pretend it's a microphone. And he said, I'll set the scene for you, because I was doing a lot of beauty contests at the time. So he said, here we have your host for the evening, Hugh Jampton. So that was a bit of rhyming slang. I got it. I'm not sure all the listeners got it, but I certainly got it. It made me laugh. George Cole, he was another guest of it. We went on Late Night Extra. We had Charlton Heston, and we went. I put this in my book. We went to his suite to interview him. He was staying at the Dorchester. He was about 6'3" and built like a brick house, and he did this wonderful interview. We had a little portable tape recorder, and we got about half an hour of wonderful material. And he said, as a point of interest, does the BBC pay for this kind of thing? So the producer coughed in this huge tumbler of whiskey that he'd given him, and he said, well, there will be a nominal fee. So Charlton Heston looked at him. He said, how do you mean nominal? And he coughed again, and he went, 10 guineas. Now this is the man who's made, biblical epics, and you're offering him 10 guineas, because in those days the BBC were very careful with their money. But it was quite funny. And Charlton Heston said, 10 guineas. He said, couldn't you just give me a tie? And then he's trying to explain that the BBC can't pay in ties.
Yeah, absolutely.
BBC was lovely to work for back then. Yeah. There was a BBC club. I'm doing a program which is going up very soon on Boom, and it is the 80th anniversary of the BBC Light program. And we put together, David Lloyd, our boss, has got a whole lot of clips of some of the older comedians, like, I won't take my coat off, I'm not stopping, And but the day war broke out, my wife said to me, and of course, can I do you now, sir? So we got all these clips of people, and Wilfred Pickles, give him the money, Barney. What's on the table, Mabel? And we've got clips from all those wonderful old shows, and I was talking about programs that I did, like Late Night Extra, and we had wonderful guests that came in there. They were appearing in theatres, and then they drop in for an interview on Late Night Extra. But BBC very, very careful with their money. One of the hosts of Late Night Extra had a different host every night, and one of the hosts was Terry Wogan, and his first fee was £33. We'd hardly paid his travel over from Ireland. He's still living in Ireland.
Yeah. Talking of Terry Wogan, one of the people that you met on your Radio 1 show was the man he used to call Manly Barrylow.
Yes, Barry Manilow. I got to know Barry Manilow very well. When he brought his first record out, Mandy, I had that as a Hamilton Hotshot, and it was a big hit. And I got to know the two ladies who ran his fan club very well. And I got to know Barry very well, and I had a few lunches with him when he was in London, and it was absolutely the peak time of his popularity, So that was lovely. I mean, the other people, of course, I got to know very well were the 3 Degrees, and I discovered them really after seeing them on Sunday night at the London Palladium, and I was doing the voiceover tonight from Sunday night at the London Palladium, and they came out and they sang a song called Year of Decision. And I said to my producer, what is the Hamilton Hotshot? And he said what it was. I said, can we change it at the last minute? I said, did you see the Palladium show last night? He said, no. I said, well, millions of people did. These girls came out. They were sensational. They could be the new Supremes. So we had it as the Hamilton Hotshot. The follow-up was When Will I See You Again? That sold 5 million copies around the world. It was #1 in 25 different countries. And when the record sold 1 million, Philadelphia Records said to me, will you go to the Victoria Apollo where the girls are appearing and present them with a gold disc? So I've got the gold disc under my arm. I'm waiting for the cue from the MD to go out. I walk out and I said up to the microphone, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, When Will I See You Again has sold 1 million. The place erupts. I give the gold disc to Sheila Ferguson. The band strike up. They go into the song. And I'm standing in the wings and I think, how wonderful to be part of their story.
Yeah. Must have been an incredible moment in your life.
And they were such lovely girls, you know.
Yeah.
I spoke to Sheila Ferguson, interviewed her in recent times, and I said to her, why did you leave the 3 Degrees? So she said, well, I wanted to pursue a solo career, and she said, I've enjoyed my solo career.
That wasp, baby.
I've got a nice horrible wasp here now, and I said, it's probably sent by Tony Blackburn. He said that wasp, go and ruin the interview. Somebody said to me the other day, why are you obsessed with Tony Blackburn? I'm not actually. I very rarely talk about him. I only talk about him when I'm with friends, you know.
I love that one about Tony Blackburn. He's a bit concerned about his library. He hasn't quite finished colouring all his books.
No, that's right. Somebody broke into his library and stole both his books. One of them he hadn't finished colouring in yet.
Anyway, so we'll move on from Tony Blackburn. But of those famous and celebrity people, there were a few that became very good friends of yours. Of course, June Whitfield.
Yes, June has been here. When we bought this house nearly 20 years ago now, one of the first guests here was June Whitfield, and she sat right across there. We sat around the pool. In fact, I remember it very well because we hadn't got around to getting garden furniture, and we had to take chairs out of the house, sit round the pool. June was lovely, and we used to meet her at a friend in Barnes where we used to live. Every New Year's Eve we would spend with June Whitfield, Peter Gilmore, and Anne Stallybrass, his wife, Trevor Bannister and his wife Pammy, a whole lot of actors really, and we would sit around and sing songs, and June and I would sing to each other, if you were the only girl in the world and I were the only boy. And we miss her. She was so lovely. I got the last radio interview with her. She was in a care home in Kingston, and this was only about 3 weeks before she died. She died just after Christmas, and this was about 3 weeks before Christmas, and her brain was still so bright.
We've got Amber here. I'm just calming her down.
Yes, that's very good.
You were saying about June's brain.
Yeah, she was so bright, and right up to the last, you know, she just died. Actually, she died. She had the perfect departure. She died in her sleep. And so she just went to bed, and then she didn't get up in the morning. Which was, you know, no pain, no long illness. You know.
She had a wonderful life and a wonderful end as well.
She did have a wonderful life.
People.
She was a great actress, but she was also a lovely person. You know.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, I think you said you got a bit of a story about Trevor.
Yes, well, Mrs. H remembers this very well because we went to Trevor's funeral. And Trevor actually died on the roof of a building in his allotment, and his wife Pammy didn't realise that he'd gone. You know, she shouted up to him. She said, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And he didn't answer. So she said, "Well, stuff you then." And those were the last words that she spoke to him. So he actually died up on the roof.
Up on the roof.
And what was one of the records that was played at his funeral? He had a great sense of humour. Kenny Lynch and Up on the Roof.
It was. I only met him once, but he told me an incredibly funny joke, which I couldn't.
Did you meet him with me?
Well, it was when you were having a final party for your house in Barnes.
Yes.
And yes, he told me a wonderful joke. Which,
can't you tell it?
Not really. No. It is a bit X-rated. It's very X-rated, actually. Yes.
But you could tell it to Brian.
I could tell it to Brian. Yes. Yes. I gather he's in the habit of these days taking all his clothes off and standing in front of the freezer. Trouble is, it doesn't go down with the other shoppers in Tesco's. But
These are the jokes, folks.
Well, it's all in the spirit of the David Hamilton music show.
Yeah,
and in the spirit of David
I
Hamilton.
have to be careful about jokes that I tell now. Some of the jokes I used to tell on Radio 1, I'd think twice before I tell them now because people get offended. But I do think that our generation who listen to Boom are not as offended as maybe other
No,
younger
because
people.
they lived through that time when people weren't offended, and of course comedy was so much better for it. Nobody expects comedy to be nasty or cruel.
Well, Benny Hill was wonderful, wasn't he? And I remember the sketch that I did with Benny when, you know, he was a male contestant in a male beauty contest. Excuse me. And I was the compere, and I had dinner jacket and bow tie on his TV show. And I said, please welcome our first contestant, Ivor Biggin from Mill Hill. And Benny said, no, I'm Ivor Mill from Biggin Hill.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man is so sharp, you know, he remembers every line.
Well, thank God. I do thank God. I thank God every day that I've got to this age and that my brain is still active. Because the man who puts me to shame is my oldest friend, Pete Murray. Pete is going to be 100 in September. We will celebrate this on Boom Radio for sure. He's going to have a birthday, which I've been invited to, which I'm really looking forward to, a birthday lunch. And I interviewed Pete for Boom a couple of years ago, and his memory is so sharp, and this is how sharp it is. We were talking about Housewife's Choice on the Old Light program, and I said to him, Pete, you must have done that a few times, and he said, 4 times. It's incredible, isn't it, that what was he then, 90, 97, 98, that you'd actually remember how many times you did Housewife's Choice.
It is remarkable. Well, Amber's trying to wind us up here, so
she is. Is she the floor manager?
I think she is actually. Yes. She's running around
Amber's
with a
the floor
clipboard under her
manager.
arm.
Drina is the photographer.
Yes, we have to thank Drina.
Look what a steady hand she's got.
There may have been a couple of wobbles. I'm so sorry.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
The wobbles will give it character.
I
Well,
just think you were laughing.
well, it's probably because you were telling jokes that always make me laugh.
Oh.
I'm afraid.
Oh well, it's a captive audience.
No, it's time to go, and we are going to have some lunch.
Indeed, I'm really looking forward to it, and yet again, the sun always shines for us.
Sun always shines when you come
absolutely.
here.
You always bring the sun with you,
You
know.
always bring
thank
the
you,
sun,
Jane.
Noel, and greetings to all the hot shotters everywhere.
Absolutely.
Hi, Hotshotters.
See you next year, guys.